It's Monday morning. We're going to go a little faster pace. So, a lot of times in yoga classes, we link the breath and the movement, which is a wonderful experience. It's great. I highly recommend doing it as a yoga teacher. It doesn't have to always be that way. I think about when we were young musicians and we do syncopated rhythms or do rhythms off of each other. As long as you stay with the breath and you have the movement, they don't have to be linked. But for some of these faster movements, we will play with leaning into what's called a Kapalabhati breath, a bellows breath. So just go ahead, come to a comfortable standing position. Take a moment. Knees facing generally forward, second, third toes face forward. Hips back over heels, low ribs drawing in and up. Standing up nice and tall. Hands can come together in front of the heart, shoulders on the back. Connect from the hips down. And then we're going to take our hands to our rib cage. And from here, we're going to do a hard exhale. So you're going to hug the rib cage in and contract and forcefully exhale out through the nose. For the inhale, you just let yourself release and the breath flow in, but you can get lightheaded when you first do this breathing technique. If this is too much, don't worry about it. Stop. Again, the breath and the movement actually does not have to match. Although, if you tell any other yoga teacher that I told you that, I will deny. So, coming to a nice standing position, hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, and coming into the flow of the breath. And at first, go ahead and just do that long, full, deep, complete breath. And just let yourself settle. Feel the air on the nostrils, feel your lungs moving, feel your ribs moving, feel your skin moving. And just settle into this relationship with your breath and with the air around you. And just let yourself be fed and nourished by the breath. And then when you're done with the inhale, when you're done with that nourishment, you just release it back out. You do not try to hold on. It just comes and goes. Breathe. If you want to come into Ujjayi Pranayama, feel free. Regardless, long, deep, full breaths for now. And with your next exhale, go ahead, release the hands to the side. Inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. Left hand can grab right wrist. Exhale to the left. Inhale up to center, right hand can grab left wrist, exhale to the right. Inhale up to center, exhale to the left. Inhale up to center, exhale right. Inhale center, exhale left. Inhale center, exhale right. Inhale up to center, interlace the hands, turn the palms away from you. Standing up nice and tall, inhale, shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, shoulders away. Inhale, shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, shoulders away. Inhale, shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, find a balanced place. Release the hands. Reach up, out through the arms. Hands can always be a bit wider apart to breathing, lengthening. Keep that length, get the core engaged. Knees as wide apart as the feet. Start to stretch the hips back. Moving through a Utkatasana. Keeping the breath again. The breath and the movement is not matching here. The movement currently is slower than the breath, but you can still connect to both actions. Breathe. Keep lengthening the spine as you move through parallel. The hips will start to lift up higher than the chest, but you're still trying to extend out of the hips. Stop whenever you feel rounding in the back, so come into a place where you can keep the spine extending out of the hips, breathing here. And then exhale, folding hands to legs or floor. Knees can be nice and deeply bent. Relaxing the spine over the legs, feeling the breath move through you. It's colder now. I'm sticking my nose in my shirt. That's fine. Breathe. And then with your next inhale, stretch the spine long, floating up, coming into spinal extension, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, engaging the core, lifting up, lengthening. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Swing the arms over, back around with the knees bent. And then inhale, stretch the arms forward, lifting up, core engaged. Exhale, swinging, folding in. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, folding forward, arms swinging over. Inhale, lift up. Make sure your rib cage is pulling back, core engaged, lifting up to vertical as much as works for the torso without tucking hips under. And then go ahead and come up to standing. Exhale, release the arms to the side. We're going to bend our knees and we're going to step a foot back. We're going to do this faster though, so we're going to move quickly. And as you do that, again, you might want to do this more forceful Kapalabhati-like breath. So now we're really going to do it. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, neck down. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, left foot forward. Okay, second side. Again, it's not quite Kapalabhati because I'm doing a more engaged inhale too. Back to the first side. Back to second. Back to first side. Back to second. First side hold. Pause here. Right knee stacks right on top of the ankle, tracks towards second or third toe. Counterbalancing my left leg going back. I can move the leg further back. I can move it closer in. I can play with how wide my feet are apart. And then from here, go ahead, release the hands to the side, lengthen the spine. Start to come up and straighten the right leg to give yourself some space in your hips and back as you come up, right? Then taking a moment here, adjusting the hips as needed. So you can turn the hips catty corner, you can turn them more forward. Play around, see what works for you. Hands to the hips, press out into your hands, expanding wide through the low back. And then right knee spins towards second or third toe. Rib cage stays lifted and engaged as you bend that right knee, only as much as feels good for your hips and low back. And then from here, hands can lift up. Warrior one, breathe. Lean the torso forward, press down to that right foot, step the left foot forward. Right foot back. Left knee on top of the ankle, connecting, deciding where you want your feet to be in relationship to each other. And then slowly coming upright. Playing around with hip placement. Coming to a place where your hips feel good. Lengthening the spine up out of the hips. Pressing the hips out into the hands. And then slowly bending that left knee, but only as much as feels good for you. Breathe. And hands can stay low or hands can float up. And then lean forward, press down to that left foot, step the right foot forward, shake out the legs. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders on the back. Exhale, release the hands to the side. Inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. Exhale, bend the knees full forward, swing the arms over, back around. Inhale, core engaged, lift up. Exhale, over, back around. Inhale, core engaged, lift up. Maybe see if you can bend the knees more. Maybe see if with the core engaged you can come more vertical through the spine. And then coming all the way up to standing. Release the arms to the side. Open the legs wide to the side. pause for a moment, decide how you feel, and decide if you want to adjust anything. You want the legs to be wide enough apart that you're working, not so wide apart you feel unstable. And then you want to stack yourself up in a nice Tadasana. So hips back over heels, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. Breathing here. Hands can open up into a T. Maybe playing around with the neck some. And then go ahead, release the hands, turn your left toes in some, the right toes out, right knee tracks towards second or third toe. We're gonna bend the right knee and lean inside the leg and then come back up. But we're gonna lean it with a long spine. So inhale, bend, exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend, exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend, exhale, straighten. And then moving into this a little bit more. And then from here, right elbow to right leg, lengthen through the spine, hips, belly, and chest can turn to the sky. Feel free to keep this right arm on the right leg, or if the floor is close and you'd like to bring hand to floor, you can. Parsvottanasana, nice full deep breath. And then legs staying generally in this position, press down to the feet, lean inside the leg first. Feel the thighs moving back, be careful not to lock that left knee. And then moving the hips forward to come up as a unit. You're not tucking the hips under, you're just moving them forward as a unit. Breathe. I'm just playing with different finger positions, you might notice that. And then exhale, soften, so second side. Right toes in, left toes turn out. Leaning inside the leg, bending the knee with extension. Hold left elbow to left leg, opening up, Parsvottanasana, hand on the thigh or hand to the ground. Breathe. And leaning a bit inside the leg, coming up, hands in T. Again, soften this right knee, but feel the thighs rooting back. And then hips move forward, not the legs to come upright. Breathing here. And again, playing with hands and wrists, just because. And then go ahead, come to center, bend both knees, move a little side to side. Feet facing forward. The knees bent, hips move back, spine stretches long, and you can reach for the floor out in front of you if that works for you. If not, own legs are perfectly fine. Breathe. And if you want to, you can walk the hands back and fold in, knees can stay bent, or you can lift your hips up higher to straighten the legs. Soften through the knees, nice long spine, all the way up to standing. Heel toe, legs in towards each other. Shake out the legs and come to standing at the top of the mat. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Exhale, release the hands to the side. Bend your knees, Utkatasana. Exhale, folding forward, arms swing over, back around. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, arms swing over, back around. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to the ground. Make sure the feet are far enough away from the hands that you can press the hands down. Inhale, shift the weight forward into your hands. Exhale, back into your feet. Inhale, weight forward into your hands. Exhale, back into your feet. Inhale, lift the hips up high, weight in the hands. Keep the hips high. Walk the feet back. Downward facing dog, bending and straightening legs, moving hips a little side to side. And then exhale, lower down to all fours. Point your toes. Inhale, hips slide forward, shoulders back, only as much as feels good for your low back. Exhale, hips lift up. And then hips keep on lifting, spine stays extended, downward facing dog. So only straighten the legs as much as you can keep the low back long, the hips lifting up to the sky. Inhale, knees come down, hips move forward, shoulders move back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, modified up dog with knees on the ground. If you'd like to press down to the feet and lift the knees up, you could. Exhale, child's pose, feet together, knees apart, hips towards heel, head towards ground, breathe. If hips towards heel is too much for knees, hips higher, fine, breathe. And you can see I do non-traditional positions with my arms in child's pose fairly frequently. Come forward onto your belly. Press down to the hips, draw the low ribs in, keep the hips heavy. Inhale, right leg, left arm lifts, stretch them out away from each other. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale, left leg, right arm, stretch out, lower down. Keep stretching long. Bring the arms back along the sides. Legs still stretch long. Chest lifts up, shoulders lift up. Maybe feet lift up here too. Shalabhasana, breathe. Exhale, lower back down and come into a child's pose. Inhale, up to all fours. Feel free to stay in all fours or with that nice long spine. Downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts up high to the sky. Exhale, right foot forward towards your hands, sliding wiggle scoop. Bring both hands inside the right leg. Left heel can be up or down. And slowly, with a nice long spine, extend the right leg as straight as works for you. Then, here, inhale, float up, extending the spine maybe even a bit more. Notice again how high you have to be to come into spinal extension. Breathe wherever that is. And then keeping your core engaged, turn your belly and chest to the right and maybe lift the right hand up. Modified Trikonasana. You always take the left hand to the left leg, right leg for balance. Revolve triangle. Breathe. And then exhale, lower back down. Step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot forward. Hands inside the left leg, straightening the leg, back heel up or down. Try to extend through the spine here. As the left hip moves back, stretch the spine long. Maybe float the hands up if you can feel stable here and steady, stretching long here. And then keeping that length, start to open up into the twist. Breathe. And again, the right hand, if it feels safer for you, can come to the right leg. It doesn't have to. Arms are extending out of the shoulders. So depending on the angle, how much you're facing towards the ground versus to the side will depend on the angle of the hands. The exception, again, is if you bring this right hand to the left leg, and then that changes things. And then go ahead and turn back down, soften that left knee, step the left foot back. Downward facing dog. Inhale forward into a plank pose. Exhale, lowering down to the belly. So core engaged, shoulders on back with control. Lower down. Maybe that took more than one breath. Point your toes. Stretch back to the legs. Press the hips down. Arms by the side. Lift up to the chest. Maybe float up to the feet. Breathing here. And then go ahead, release. Rest the head on the hands. Gently rock the hips. Knees open, outer hip distance width apart. Arms back by the sides, floating up to the shoulders, root down to the hips. And then this time maybe keeping the knees on the ground, so stretching through those legs with the legs staying low. Exhale and bend the knees. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Feel free to stay here or floating the hands up. If the feet are close, you can grab the feet and press the feet out into the hands. Breathe, Dhanurasana. Take a moment and just play with where your head and neck are and line the head and neck up with the spine. It's kind of hard to figure out where it is here. Exhale, release, and come into a child's pose as you're ready. Come to sit. Left leg forward out in front of you. Right knee hugging it in. Sit up nice and tall here. Left arm across the right leg. Right hand back behind you. Twisting to the right. You can always cross the left elbow over the right leg or arm, wherever on the arm. I have a friend who crossing elbow forces her to round her back, so she wouldn't do that. And then unwind. I like to do this angle on my mat, and I'm going to show it to you even though it will make my back go towards you. I will take often my left foot to the right side of my mat, move my hips back. If I'm going to do the version of Janu Sirsasana, you'll see this better on the other side, that the foot is being pulled in towards the middle of my hips. Then from here, I'm going to take my hands in between the legs and fold in between the legs first. And here in spinal extension, I will walk my hands, if I feel good, over to the left and maybe grab the left foot with one or with both hands and then fold over that left leg. Coming back up, lifting the right knee up, coming into the twist on the second side first. So bending the left knee, sit up nice and tall, twist it. And then unwind. And again, shifting my legs and my hips move to the right side of my mat. My right foot comes to the left side. And instead of taking the left foot against the right leg, I'm bringing, for this version of the pose, the leg into center. Right knee is up to the sky. Knee can bend enough to root down to the hips. Also, feel free to sit on some height. So if your back is tight, if your hips tuck under, you want to sit on something so your hips do not tuck under when you fold forward. And if they are and you don't have anything to sit on, don't try to fold forward. Just practice bending your left knee and sitting up nice and tall here. And then if it works for you, if you can, fold forward with the hips moving. You can go ahead, fold forward. So this is my slightly more sensitive hip. So I'm going to move slowly towards that hip, but I'm not going to go as far on this side as I did on the other side. I'll grab my foot with the hand, but if you notice, I'm not turning my spine all the way over that leg. I'm just moving to where this pose, my hip likes this pose, which is about here. Breathe. And then coming back up, lifting the left knee up. Feet facing forward. Bend your knees enough that you can stretch the spine out of the hips. And then think about reaching for the wall out in front of you, but up high. And making sure your hips move as you do that motion. So if it's just the back, bend your knees enough that the hips move when you reach for that angle at the wall up high. And then from here, if you want to, hands to legs. Legs can stay bent, or if it feels okay to straighten them, you can play with that. But don't get too much pulling in the low back. So that's not really stretching, that's just intensity. That can be hard on the low back. Come to a place that works for you. up. Slide your hips forward. Make your way onto your back in a way that works for you. Hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball. Balasana on the back. And then with your knees deeply bent, lower the feet to the ground. Feet outer hip distance apart. Bring the arms along the sides. Feel the natural curves of the back here. Hips heavy, low back lifts. Shoulders heavy, neck lifts, back of head heavy. And without flattening out the low back curve, engage your core. Move your ribs in towards the spine. Arms by the side, bend the elbows, wiggle the shoulders underneath you. And then from here, chin either in neutral or slightly lifted. Lift the chest up first. And then without tilting the hips under or up, just start to float the hips up. As the hips float up, you'll stretch the hips forward. You'll stretch the chest back. You'll feel extension through the spine. The feet, you might pretend like you're dragging those back. The knees will extend forward. Weight stays even on the inner and outer edges of the feet. You can adjust shoulders. Grabbing outer edge of mat is a really good variation. Pulling the mat apart, wiggling the shoulders underneath you more. Breathe. And then exhale, lower the hips all the way back down. Hands to the tops of the thighs. Press the thighs away. Gently swaying the knees side to side. We'll do that one more time. So arms by the side. Wiggle the shoulders underneath you. Head and shoulders rooting down. Chest lifts up. Hips pressing down for a moment. And then without tilting the hips under for today, float up. There is a bridge where you do tilt the hips under. It's a perfectly lovely bridge. It's not what we're doing today. You can grab the outside edges of your mat. Act like you're pulling the mat apart. Wiggle shoulders underneath you more. Breathe. Hips stretch in one direction. Chest stretches in the other. Getting extension in the spine even though you are bending. And then exhale, lower all the way back down. Hands to the tops of the thighs. Press the thighs away from you. Gently sway the knees from side to side. And then come back to center. Press your right hand into the right thigh, but press the thigh back into the hand and lift that right leg up towards the sky, pointing and flexing the foot. And then second side. Left hand, left thigh, press in towards each other, extending the left leg straighter, pointing and flexing the left foot. I just don't like the TV out. Okay, so pointing and flexing the left foot. Release when you're done. Hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball. Gently rocking from side to side. I prefer windshield wipers as opposed to deeper twisting, but feel free to keep your knees lifted if you like deeper twisting. I'm going to lower my feet to the ground, stretch the arms back for the wall behind me, and then with the feet on the ground, exhale the knees over to the right. Inhale up to center. Exhale the knees to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Lifting the right foot on top of the left knee if that feels good for you. Breathe. And then unwinding. Inhale up to center. Exhale the knees to the left. Left foot can come on top of the right knee. Breathing here. And then inhale up to center, unwinding, hugging the knees into the chest, coming into a ball. Feel free to stay here in a ball or open the knees wider apart, extending to the spine, pulling down with your hands while you press up with the legs. That can feel really good through your hips. You can flip the feet out towards the sky, holding on to the legs or the feet. Same actions, pulling down with the arms, pressing up with the legs. And then from here, bring your soles of the feet together if this works for you. Gently press your knees away. And then exhale, lower the feet to the ground, feet together, knees apart. Actively at first, press your feet in towards each other. Feel the hips engaging. If this is a really comfortable pose for you, I know it is for some people, and some people can stay here forever. You can stay here. For me, it's more appropriate for me to straighten the legs and to move into Shavasana. If that's not appropriate for you and bending your knees and having the feet on the ground is, you can do that option as well. Coming someplace that's comfortable. Coming back into that connection with the breath where you're inhaling and being nourished and exhaling what's no longer useful to you. Come back into your relationship with the floor. Let yourself feel held and supported, and let yourself release and relax into that support. And then, when you let go completely into the support of the earth, know that your relationship with the breath is going to continue, even if you consciously let it go. So the universe will breathe you, even when you're not consciously manipulating your breath. And just let yourself rest here in these two very supportive relationships, that of the ground supporting you and that of the universe breathing you. Staying here as long as you'd like. I'm going to instruct the getting out, but you don't have to do that yet. You can release. When you are ready to leave, you'll start with small movements, lengthening and deepening the breath, coming more engaged in that. So becoming more active in that process, moving small. Eventually, you'll bend the knees in and easing your way up to sitting with as little effort as possible. You can stay on your back as long as you'd like, and have a wonderful day.